RTS gamer. Like, I really love RTS games. That's why I like D&D so much. So,
What is RTS?
real-time strategy.
Oh, okay.
Where D&D takes critical thinking, RTS takes that you have to plan against the computer, or other people. So it's a resource. RTSs are like resource builders. You ever heard of Warhammer?
Yeah.
Kind of like that, but it's different versions. Like I have, you can kind of consider Civilization and RTS, which I play that too. Civ Meyer Civilization.
Yeah, I'm familiar with that.
So yeah, those are RTSs. I play them a lot. So they always keep me thinking, and I can waste hours in them just playing them.
Yeah, I like those games that are. I like those games where you can plan out rather than like real time. Like you gotta like Pillars of Eternity. I tried playing. It's hard though because you gotta like do things really quick, and the spell stuff's all confusing. I don't know.
I don't know. You might like, if you've never played it, you might like Halo Wars. I mean, it's a base builder RTS. So you build a base, you've got equipment, you've got troops, you've got movement. I mean,
so yeah, more like Civilization.
Civilization, where you're taking over cities. This is actually a base builder RTS. Like you start off with a base,
right?
So.
But you're building it, right? You're growing it.
Yeah, kind of. The base is stationary. You don't have, like, you can have multiple bases depending on the map, but it varies.
Yeah.
But you just look it up. You might get a kick out of it, and it's 20 years before the actual Halo game. So like the first Halo. So see, I'm a Halo kid. I literally was in my teens when Halo came out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Halo was a big thing to me when I was younger, so it's all good. Like, I grew up with Mario. Don't get me wrong, I had Mario on the original NES, but Halo was my thing for when it came out to the Xbox. I was sold.
Nice. Hey guys.
Hi, Ivy.
Hi.
Well, hello.
Haha, I always get a hi.
Hello, everybody.
Officer Gallivant.
Hello. How is everybody doing tonight?
Good. Galvan, you sound a lot cooler tonight. I don't know, you just seem cooler. You're really
such
cool.
a cool cat.
Yeah, you're really cool tonight.
So cool.
He's so cold, he's cool as ice.
He's just breezing on through that mic.
Cold as ice.
What are you willing to sacrifice my love?
Oh my God, yes. We're just. Are we playing D&D or are we playing karaoke? It's like 2 weeks in a row we've been.
Hey, we could play Name That Tune. That's easy.
My love.
Hey, it sounds like we have everybody here, and with 41 seconds to spare.
Paul's not here yet.
Oh,
Don't
that's right.
forget about the lovely Paul.
Paul is not here. Did we hear anything from Paul?
He's got 30 seconds. He's got 30 seconds. Better
I love how
hurry.
we just conveniently forgot about the Britishman.
We can't forget about our friends across the pond.
That's right.
No, we can't.
We got a treaty.
Tabaxi is on here. Oh my goodness. Hey, chat. Welcome. We are trying something new this week. We are simulcasting on both Twitch and on YouTube. So that seemed to work out pretty well on Monday night for Monster Monday. So we're going to see how it works with the actual session. I'll be curious, but I'm still recording the session just in case something goes horribly long. Like last week, for some reason, on Twitch hiccuped twice. So our session on Twitch got broken up into 3 streams that were just like back to back to back, but the recording was just one solid session. So I used the recording to put the archive up on YouTube. And if there's something funky with the stream, if the stream breaks up on YouTube, I will get rid of the streamed version and just upload the recorded version. So it'll be a single stream. We'll lose any chat if we'll lose any chat log if there was a chat log over on YouTube. That's the next thing I got to figure out on OBS is how I can look at the chat log from all the different platforms. Because, all right, I'm seeing it's 8 o'clock. We're going to go ahead and we will wait for Paul or we will not wait for Paul. We will let him join us when he gets here. Welcome, 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 everybody. My name is DM Galabond. A slightly cooler and less sweaty DM Galabond because the air conditioning got fixed today. Yay!
Yay.
Did they have to
So
replace the whole unit?
yeah. So that's what took so long. Is the guy came out last week,
Called
looked
it.
at it, and said, "Yep, it's bad, but 15 years."
About an average.
Yeah. So better than average, especially here where it runs like 9 months out of the year in Florida because it's so bloody hot all the time. All right. We are here for session 47 of the Sword Coast Chronicles. This is a session I like to call the Circle of Eight. And why do you suppose I would call it the Circle of Eight? Well, it has something to do with what the party learned last time when they were hiding out in a wizard's tower and getting attacked by a bunch of undead that had been sent after them by Strahd. And eventually, a very powerful wizard that Desarius recognized as Eudovius and Rictavio or Van Richten recognized as Mordenkainen came flying across the lake, did something where he just stopped all the enemies from attacking for a bit, threatened to polymorph Krenraid if Krenraid didn't let him take him back inside the tower, and then proceeded to teleport everybody out of the tower and to the front of a mansion that he had created. And some of the party members who have connections to magic recognized this, in fact, as the spell Mordenkainen's Mansion. And then he invited everybody inside and said, all right, let's have some dinner and let's talk about what we want to do. And we briefly mentioned that Mordenkainen wants Van Richten's help, Van Richten and your new friends, to help him go and rescue two members of an organization he calls the Circle of Eight. And they, the party was kind of like, well, what's that? And there's an opportunity to discuss what that is and have some food. And we are all gathered in a large dining room. And players, you can take it away.
I believe we left off with me not being happy with that individual
Yes.
for
Yes.
disappearing on me and making me worry for months.
Yes. Oh, Tazarius. Are you going to...
You
Are you going to
realize
get...
how often and long I looked for you? I'm stuck here. That's all I could think about is I'm stuck here. This place is not the greatest.
Aren't we all stuck here? I think we all want to go home.
Well,
Yeah.
yes. Oh. And, I was accounted a powerful wizard in my day, but I'm not a power. I'm not even a demi-power. And as long as Strahd is in control of this realm, he pretty much is in control of who is able to leave and when and how. And so that means we're all stuck here. So yes, I want to do something about that guy, but yeah, Van Richten, we've got a chance. We've got a chance to help 2 of the circle. And Van Richten says, the Circle of 8. Why, I remember reading about them, but that was after you and I had parted company. Whatever, pray tell, befell them? I thought that was supposed to be the greatest wizards that you could assemble in all of Greyhawk. And Mordenkainen says, well, yeah, of course it was. I mean, we were the creme de la creme, as they say. That is creme de la creme. Well, why do they put the extra E on there if they don't want you to pronounce it? Oh, dear. And he's like, well, that's damned elves for you. All right, so, yes, we were the creme de la creme, as you say. Tell me how to pronounce things in my own house. I can kick you out if you get on my nerves. Well, come on, get on with it, please. Well, okay. And I don't suppose any of you know what happened to the Circle of 8, do you? Do they tell stories about us where you're come from?
Would Mulek have heard anything? I don't know.
You can make a history check. 22.
Nice.
Yes. You know a tiny bit about the Circle of 8. You know that the Circle of 8 is rumored to have been a group of the most powerful wizards on one of the other planes of existence. And in fact, some of the people that were part of the Circle of 8 are names that you well know. In addition to Mordenkainen, the Circle of 8 also included Bigby, Leomund, Nistel, Otto, Tensor, and Ottaluk.
Bigby's head.
Those all sound familiar.
And so he, so you know that they can comprise the Circle of Eight, but that's about all you know since their activities were confined to another plane of existence.
So I counted 6 there.
Yeah, those are the 6
7
names. Yeah, those are the names that you know.
that I know. So there's one I don't know. Okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, you had Mordenkainen. You had mentioned earlier that you were looking for 2. Which 2 were you looking for?
Well, the two that were betrayed by Bucknard, of course. That would be Tensor and Ottaluk.
And where are the other 6? Not including yourself, Mordenkainen.
Oh, well. I tell you what. If you don't know this story, I guess it's time. It's time for a little bit of story time. Okay, everybody gather around.
I think we're already gathered around.
Okay.
Fellas, you're just wait. We've just started eating. Is that?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. The food is coming, and there are unseen servants bringing food in and out and replenishing drinks as needed and whatnot. Well, sometime in 581, as we reckoned it on the calendar in Greyhawk, everybody in the Circle of Eight, except for myself, because I happened to be off the plane on an errand of my own, but they were all betrayed by Bucknard, and Bucknard wound up getting killed too, because he was double-crossed by Halmadar the Cruel. Halmadar the Cruel was a tyrant from the Shieldlands. Shieldlands, does that mean anything to you all? And no, it doesn't mean anything, because that's not anywhere in the Forgotten Realms. And after he looks around, he's well, okay. You kids don't learn anything in school. Do they even teach you geography anymore? My
No.
goodness. Well, anyway, Halmadar the Cruel, he had fallen under the sway of the fabled Lich Vecna, who by that time had even been able to achieve godhood. So as soon as I heard about it, I rushed back to Greyhawk, and I dealt with Halmadar, and Bucknard was already dead, so didn't have to deal with him. But I went to the locations where all of our colleagues had their clones hidden away, just in case they ever got killed. Back in those days, we made contingencies. We all created clones of ourselves, and we hid them away in secret places so that if somebody ever killed us, then one of us could go back and revive everybody. And so I went and found all of their clones, except for Tensor and Ottaluk. I got to the 2 of them last and found out that by the time I got there, somebody had already broken into their secret lairs and had destroyed their clones. I thought they were gone forever. I didn't think that we would ever be able to revive them. But then over the ages, as we eventually brought a couple of more people into the circle, we eventually brought in Drawmidge, and we eventually brought Jalarzi into the into the circle of 8, and that reconstituted it to its full size. And, well, we set about doing our work, and then we started seeing signs and portents. And we realized by these signs and portents that, well, old Tensor and Adaluk, they were a little bit smarter than everybody gave them credit for. They didn't just have clones on Greyhawk. They had hidden away clones in other planes of existence as well. And in fact, they had hidden it in a demi-plane. In this demi-plane. Because they were friends with the silver Now, I've gone over there and I've taken a look, and that temple, it's as evil as can be. Something's corrupted it for sure. And
The temple?
yes.
I was telling them about that earlier.
Oh, so you've been there.
With you.
Oh, that's right. We did go there. Yes. Okay.
Getting a little forgetful there in your old age, aren't you?
I remember enough to turn you into a toad if you keep young pig through it. You.
This is probably the most animated anybody has really seen. Shape of a dog.
And he says, but I have a feeling that it's not going to be, it's not. Delight in watching him rule over and cruelly oppress all of his people that are here. So we do have to take him out, and that means we'll probably be going up against at least some of the other servants of these powers. Goodness only knows how many of them are around. So Des, you've
No.
You've
Sorry.
been here for all these months? Did you find anything useful or anything that seems like it might be another power that's beholden to these dark powers?
I'd have to go back and look through my notes. Nothing is jumping out to the forefront of my mind at the moment. Granted, it's kind of been a long day, so I have to think on that.
Oh, it's all right. What about the rest of you? I know you haven't been here that long, but have you run across anything that you might think of as being a power in service to something that might amount to a deity of this realm? Hmm? He looks from Mulek to Thalidor to Esmeralda to Faliger.
I think the only power we've seen at nearing that level would be from Strahd himself.
Hmm.
I haven't seen anything more powerful than him yet since I've been here, or what appears to have been under his influence and power. And he's recalling the lightning strikes and the events that took place yesterday.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the kind of stuff that the dark powers would give Strahd the ability to do. And if my research is correct, and it's seldom ever wrong, despite what the druid says, if my research is correct, then I believe that it's an entity called Mother Night that is the primary power in this realm.
Mother Night.
Yes.
And this Mother Night is what gives power to this evil at the Amber Temple?
No. I think Mother Night is the kind of power that is entombed at the Amber Temple. The temple was designed as a place to entomb all of the dark powers that held sway over all of the demi-planes, like Barovia. But clearly, they weren't able to capture all of them. If they were, then Mother Night would not be able to influence someone like Strahd.
I rolled religion to see if that name Mother Night actually rang a bell. I didn't know religion or history. I didn't know, because it sounds like you saying worship and stuff sounds like a religion. That's why I rolled religion. But I mean, I can roll any other roll if you need me to.
Let's take a look. Okay.
Mulek, is Mother Night ringing a bell with you? Do you have anything on that name?
Galabon, does Mulek?
No. I mean, I'm asking you as a character. I know you might not, but I'm just trying to keep the conversation going.
Well, I just don't know how to answer that because I don't know.
Right.
You have heard of Mother Night, but you have no idea what depiction there is. If anybody wants to do a history or religion check to see if they know anything about Mother Night, they can do so. Oh my goodness.
These history rolls tonight. God.
Yeah, Mulek. You you have heard that Mother Night is depicted as the mother of all of the creatures of the night. She is, in some folklore, she is depicted as a humanoid woman, some 20 feet tall, with with a human woman's body, and she runs around without any clothes on, but her head is the head of a gigantic wolf, and her fingers end in the claws and talons of a wolf, and she is sometimes ceremonially, she will be dressed in garlands of night blooming flowers.
Well, Thaldor, very tall, naked chick, hangs out in the woods at night. That's what I recall. Probably twice as big as that goat beast that came with Dez.
It's a big woman. Apparently, she has some strong power to bestow that upon Strahd.
Appears so. And Mordenkainen, how confident are you that Tensor and Odaluk are in this temple? This amber temple you speak of?
I am as confident as I am that when I ask for honey mead, the unseen servant will bring me honey mead. Servant, honey mead! And in a few moments, a tray with a goblet on it floats out, and Mordenkainen picks it up, smells, smiles. Yes, honey mead. And takes a sip.
And our chances against Strahd, and I look around to the party sitting at the table, will increase greatly if we are able to find and gather or release from whatever bonds these two may be found in to defeat Strahd.
Well, yes, of course. I mean, we've got Van Richten here. He knows the old ways of the Morning Lord. He can revive them once we have their cloned bodies. Can give them a vessel for their souls to return to. And if they are with us, we stand a lot better chance against Strahd than we do without them. I mean, I would give you lot without myself and without Adaluk and oh god, where's the damn thing? Adaluk and Tensor. I would give you lot maybe one chance in 10 against Strahd. With me by your side, our chances would be 7 or 8 and 10. We have Tensor and Adaluk along. I don't think Strahd stands a chance.
Well, it sounds like the best idea I've heard so far. What do y'all think?
Sounds like a plan.
Let's Yes. We will have
Fallinger taps the side of his glass and stands up and I'd like to make a toast.
Oh, a toast. Somebody knows what to do with a glass of something good to drink. Go ahead, young man.
Here's to friendships and new alliances.
Hear, hear. Friendships and new alliances.
pick up my glass and toast as well. Your hair.
Yeah, Mulek does as well.
Okay. So, Warden Kanan raises his glass all around to everybody and drinks down. Says, well, now if you all have had enough supper, there are guest rooms on the various levels. We're on the main floor here. There's an upstairs and there's a basement as well. There's libraries. There's sleeping quarters. There's laboratories. Now, you be careful if you go into those laboratories because I've had things brewing in there for a while, and I won't be held responsible if you go meddling with something that you don't know enough about. So I would just stay out of those labs for right now if I were you. Don't want any of you kids in there unsupervised. They don't teach you geography. They probably don't teach you enough sense to know one end of a beaker from the other.
I would like to
Sakes.
retire to a sitting room and smoke some tobacco and play my guitar a little bit, if that'd be all right.
Well, of course. Yeah. Might even entice some of the unseen servants to dance. Of course, unless they put something on, you wouldn't see them.
A moment. I had just I want to talk to you after just about things that went on after you left.
Okay, that's fine, Des.
And I see that Des wants to have probably a lengthy conversation.
It's not private. You just kind of get the feeling it's just getting some you kind of get the sense that he's wanting feedback on something.
Ballinger stands up. Anybody want to join me? You're more than welcome to. And he goes off to try to find the entertainment room.
There's a room with a hearth right there above you. It's on the top floor.
I'm gonna, before he gets in the conversation with Des, I'm just gonna go up to Warren and Kaden and say, I'm a bit of a practitioner of the arcane. You seem to know quite a bit. If there's anything that you might be able to share with me, I'd be greatly appreciated. And also, if you happen to have access to a lot of incense, I'd be interested in purchasing some from you. I've had the hardest time finding incense in this dreary place of Barovia. I'm starting to lose my mind.
Oh, this God's forsaken place, of course. It's awful. Yes, I've got barrels of incense down in the basement. In the morning, we'll get you stocked up with what you need.
Oh, that reminds me. Before I retire, you wouldn't happen to have any diamonds laying around, would you? I know that they're usually pretty important items to keep around.
Diamonds. You don't look like the type that's going to settle down with anybody. So I presume you want those for something like, what, a resurrection?
Divine.
Something like.
Yeah, divine magic.
Ah, okay. So another practitioner of the holy arts. Well, maybe if Van Richten loses his mind, then you can do in a pinch, perhaps. But yes, yes, down in my lab in the basement, I should have some. I should have some diamonds. They don't come cheap, though.
I have some bit of coin to trade.
Oh, okay, good. When you get out of here, I can purchase more to get my stock. I've got the ones that we need for Autoluke and Tensor. There should be a few others there. Some experiments on those some time ago.
You've been a mighty fine host, and if you find some time, I know you said you would fancy some music, and I'll be in the entertainment room above us here, and you just come on anytime you want. I'll play whatever you mind fancies.
Okay.
Got any stories or songs about a creature here in this world called a Baba Yasaga?
I haven't chosen to write any songs about this place. To be frank with you, I'm hoping I forget it. What?
I was saying, I hope you maybe had heard something.
No, I mean, I've heard a little bit of music from the Gypsies, but I hadn't had the time to sit down and really think about writing anything.
Baba Lysaga. Baba Lysaga. What is this Baba Lysaga? Gordon Cannon asked Des.
I was tasked before I got involved with this group. I was helping out the Wizards of Wines Winery, and the group is a bunch of were-ravens, but apparently they've been attacked regularly by these scarecrow constructs, and a couple weeks before I met up with these fine individuals, I was trying to track down where the 2 gems had gone, and I I had the misfortune of seeing this creature up close. Luckily, as far as I can tell, she didn't know I was there, but it would definitely make for some interesting bardic tunes, let's just put it that way. Her magically walking hut and her large skull that she flies around in like a chariot.
Whoa. Wait a second. A hut that walks?
I think I got some drawings of it here somewhere, and he pulls out a book out of his book bag his
and a skull that she flies in?
Yeah, she this worn down house, basically, it what do I want to say? It had cages full of ravens outside of the door, and they almost gave me away. This old woman comes, wandering out as they make this horrid racket, and the open doorway on one side of the hut, beneath it which floats upside down, a hollowed out skull of a giant. And I didn't quite understand what that was for until she came out and got into the skull and proceeded to. She flew up into the air, and she was riding in it like it was like a flying chariot pulled by flying horses. And after she had left her house, I was going to approach, and it made this horrendous sound. And there were roots originally I noticed coming out from it. Well, it made this really nasty ass noise, and it stood up using the roots like legs, like a spider, and pulled themselves out of the ground, and it just walked off.
Des, do you not know the servants of a dark power when you see one? If that's not the servant of a dark power, then I don't know what is. My goodness.
I was more interested in the walking hut for that matter.
Well, anyone that can make a walking hut and turn the skull of a giant into a flying chariot, that's some pretty powerful magic.
Well, that's what I was going to talk to you about. I wanted to make sure that I had, since I hadn't had a chance to speak to her or get much information on her, I figured I wasn't going to judge before I had enough information.
Oh, well, in this case, I think, Des, you're a druid. I brought you here because you're a druid, and I wanted you to cleanse the land. Now, what part of a tree stump walking around on spider legs sounds like the land being natural to you? That is just the creepiest thing I've ever heard about.
You see Des kind of flinch a little bit. Well, it wasn't something I could take on by myself, so I came.
And you were wise not to. You are wise not to.
I came towards the village that I ended up running into these fine companions, and, well, we got a little distracted from there. So at some point in time, we may want to, if we want maybe perhaps further friends in this battle, it might behoove us to go after this Baba Lysaga and take back the gems that have kept the winery healthy and hearty through all of this. And I have a feeling that it would earn us the participation of these were-raven lycanthropes, possibly towards our side to help rid of Strahd. Every ally can help.
That's some good thinking, Des. And while you're talking to Mordenkainen, you can see that Van Richten has opened up a satchel and has pulled out a notebook. And he's leafing through this notebook, and every now and then he licks a finger and flips a couple of pages, and he looks, and he finally says, yes.
Aldez has pulled out his book, and he looks up at, I apologize, the name is going to just completely, he looks up at Falzir, who I'm assuming hasn't probably walked off quite yet, and shows him the book. Shows him the pictures of this creepy ass woman and this creepy ass hut.
And
I have seen some weird stuff in this place.
And then finally, Von Richten taps a page in his journal and says, "Yes, Desarius, this is good information that you have found. I was wondering what it was that Jan meant when I was questioning him after I killed him. And Des may recall that Jan was the name that Von Richten gave to the head that is in his trunk at the top of the tower. As Jan told me that there is a legend among the Vistani that Baba Lysaga was Strahd's nursemaid when he was but a child, and that she became the lover of Strahd's father. And he had a half sister.
You see, you see Des just going, God. Just
And Strahd had a
brain went
half.
there.
Strahd had a half sister by Baba Lysaga, and it is said that Baba Lysaga took such an interest and such a care of the child that it was she who gave Strahd the spark of magic through rituals that she performed in service of Mother Night. Yes. We probably should deal with that crone. If she is still alive when we go after Strahd, she will most certainly try to intervene.
She's alive. I only saw her a couple weeks ago.
And
with a walking house and a flying giant skull, I'm sure it would take quite a bit to take her down. So, yeah.
And Mordenkainen says, yes, I think you are right, Van Richten. If I were to set our itinerary, I would recommend that we go to the Amber Temple, free Odaluk and Nistel, and then go deal with this Baba Lysaga. That would, as Desarius says, that would not only eliminate her from the playing field, but it might gain us some allies from these were-ravens. They're a bit flighty folk, if you'll pardon the pun, as far as I'm concerned, but they're good folk.
Him under the table.
Ow!
That was for the horrible pun.
He kind of reaches down and he sort of rubs at his shin. And he gives you kind of a...
Right.
Just kind of glowers at you a bit. And says, well, then if we have them on our side, they might be able to do something to forestall any of the Vistani. If the Vistani try to interfere when we go after Strahd. What say you, Van Richten? Does that sound like a plan to you? Van Richten says, it sounds sensible to me, but I believe that we must have the adventurers weigh in on it. They have had a very trying day. We should discuss this more in the morning. But I think now we have some evidence we can give them to go over our plans. And he says, right. Well then, anybody else up for hearing some music? Where'd that bard get off to? Oh, he said he was going up to the sitting room. I'll head up there. I'll give you a little bit of a tour on the way. Those of you that want to come along. And then he kind of
familiar with this place, aren't I?
No, you have not been here.
Not in our travels.
Nope. He set
Okay.
this up. He set this up for himself after you all
Gotcha.
parted company. And
I see. You have this nice castle, and yet when we show up to start, you have us sleeping in tents on this horrible mucky ground, and in flea-infested, inns.
well, sleeping in tents builds character. It's just like remembering to carry your flask of oil and your 10-foot pole. I mean, if you don't carry a 10-foot pole, how are you going to find any traps? I mean, come on. Adventurers these days.
That's what
I would rather sleep out than in one of those tents, but anyway.
You don't need a 10-foot pole when you got me.
Oh,
really?
Mr. Smarty Pants. You don't?
Really.
Oh.
No, he's not talking. Des, no, he's not talking about a tent pole.
No,
well, you didn't quite say.
He's talking specifically about a pole of wood that's 10 feet long to prod for traps.
Right.
That's
exactly.
very old school methodology, but nothing wrong in your logic. But I think I've advanced a little further than a 10-foot pole of wood.
Well, the way you said it is that you didn't need a 10-foot pole for a tent.
No, I said you didn't need a 10-foot pole when you got me.
Ah. Well, unfortunately, yeah. My
Mulek as
imagination
well.
went somewhere else.
With me and Mulek, you don't need that 10-foot pole anymore. We could pretty much spot traps from a mile away.
I wasn't talking about.
And Mordenkainen says, well, if you keep going down this hall this way, you'll get to the library at the end on the right. And before the library, you'll have the gymnasium where you can practice, get the weapon racks with the various weapons you can practice with. And then there's the ground floor sitting room. But I think where the bard went is upstairs. And so he goes upstairs. And then when he gets to the top of the stairs, he says, now, if you go straight ahead, it looks like there's a window, but that's actually a false window. There's an entire wing over there that is devoted to guest rooms. So when you're ready, just go this way, and he points north out, seemingly out the window. Just walk this way, and you'll go down a corridor, and there's lots of nice guest rooms up there. And they are in an extra dimensional space of their own. Now, don't worry, there's plenty of air. You're not going to suffocate or anything. I've worked out how you can circulate air through extra dimensional spaces without letting anybody be able to see in or out of them. So I've eventually figured out that trick. But here, yes, there he is. Oh, Mr. Pellinger. He walks in, and you're playing, and he comes over and he sits in this other chair by this hearth. And then he looks around and he says, oh, Des, you're the only one of your friends that wanted to come?
All the others will be along, I'm sure.
And
Not very often I get to hear him sing. Well, not that I've been around long enough.
And eventually, Van Richten will come, and he will pull up a chair, and he will sit over here next to Mordenkainen. And I'm not sure where.
What were you saying?
Me and Mulek me and Mulek ran to the library.
Yeah, as soon as
Okay.
Mulek heard library, he wanted to go check it out.
Okay.
I don't think you guys particularly partake in tobacco, do you? I got some really good loose leaf here from my homeland. I imagine you don't have a lot of good of that here in Strahd.
And
kind of empties out his pipe.
yeah, and Morden Kanan will open his cloak, and you can see that on the inside of his cloak, he just has like dozens and dozens and dozens of pockets on the inside of his cloak. And he just reaches into one that's about halfway down and partway around, and he pulls out an ornate dark wood pipe that has silver and ivory inlay on it, and the rim of the bowl is ringed with ivory. And he says, "Oh, yes, I like a good pipe. In fact, down in storage in the basement, I have some pipe weed that I have been saving for I don't know how long. At least 2 or 3 centuries."
Oh, I imagine that's pretty awful.
Oh, no, it's preserved.
Oh,
You don't think I would just let it sit out, do you? Come on, who do you think I am?
I imagine
Give my name to more spells than you will ever know, and you think I would not think about preserving good pipeweed?
You're bragging again.
And he looks at Van Richten and he says, "I really don't teach these youngsters anything, do they?" And Van Richten just sort of looks at Dez and looks at Falliger and just sort of, gives kind of a helpless shrug.
Well, they call us the Furbolgs. Sometimes we've been called crude and barbarians, or we live off the land and non-civilized. But at least I know how to wash my feet.
Elager starts playing something to take Mordecai's mind off of things.
Okay. All right. So as Falliger begins playing, Morden Kanan will reach into another pouch and he pulls out another pocket. He pulls out a pouch of pipeweed, and you see that Van Richten also produces a pipe. And so they begin filling that, and they pass their pouch of pipeweed around. And as that goes on, Mulek and Thaldor, you
Is the
are...
pipeweed that's from our home plane?
No, this is apparently probably something from Morden Kanan's travels.
Okay.
Whether it's from Greyhawk or whether it's from somewhere else, it's not something that you guys are familiar with.
Okay.
So
I'll
Mulek
take
and
a sniff at it and then give it back, and then wait till Falliger gets done and then get some of his stuff.
Okay. So Mulek and Thaldor, you all are in the library. And as you walk in here, you see there are several reading desks, and there are bookshelves in the middle of the room and bookshelves on every wall. And you can see you can see 2 freestanding bookshelves. But Mulek, you notice on the on either end of the bookshelves, there is what appears to be a vertical wheel inset within the end of the bookshelves. And on either side of that wheel, there is a little brass frame, and inset into that frame on one side is a word in common, and that word is see. Okay, so this is going to be okay. On one of them it says Zenith, and on the other one it says Labyrinth.
On two different wheels, like associated with two different wheels, or is it like if
It looks like a single wheel, but then as you look really close to it, you see that single wheel is kind of divided in half. So it looks like you can roll the left half of that wheel independently of the right half.
Yeah, looking at it closer, does it look like it would cause more bookshelves to kind of appear or rotate through the bookshelf?
Well, I don't know. Are you going to examine the books on any of the shelves?
Yeah, yes. I was going to. That was my primary purpose, is to look and see what kind of books are in this library.
Okay. When you look on the, let's say as you're looking at the end of the bookshelf, the plate to your left says Zenith. The plate to your right says Labyrinth. And as you go around to the left side and you look at Zenith, you see that all of the books in here, from the top shelf down to the bottom shelf, as much as you can see, all the ones that are written in common at least have the word Zenith somewhere in their title. And then if you walk to the other side of the bookshelf, you'll see that all the titles that are in common have the word Labyrinth somewhere in their title.
Okay, interesting. Okay. What I'm going to do while I'm just kind of standing in here is I'm going to start casting Detect Magic as a ritual to see if I'm able to do that.
Okay. You will spend 10 minutes doing that. Thaldor, you're also in the library. What are you doing?
Just looking around, and I know Mulek's like a kid in a candy store. And I'm just browsing the shelves, just seeing anything that might pique my interest.
Okay. Let me take a look. Okay. You see. You see a title of a book called Culling of the Gods.
Culling of the Gods?
And you see another title of a book called Soldiers of the Curse.
I like that one more.
Okay, Soldiers of the Curse. All right, you you pull that one off of the shelf and you begin leafing through it, and it has, it's purported on its title page to be a history of some of the greatest warriors of some place called Greyhawk. And it talks about their heroes or the adventures of these heroes, and more specifically, these are soldiers or warriors that fell under a curse of one type or another. And it's kind of, as you start reading the preface of it, you realize that this is kind of a book written from the standpoint of someone who wants to use the stories of these warriors as a kind of morality or object lesson to the reader. It's like, you should learn the consequences of, your actions by seeing what happened to these folks. And so there's a number of different names in here, and as you look through, there's not anybody that you recognize, but it talks about it'll mention a name of, let's see, we'll mention the name of a there's like one that will be Aldriel and the Ifrit. And then there's one that is called Robnor and the Demon's Bargain. And then there's one called Romanus and the temptation of the succubus.
Wow, this book is deep. Literally, so I walk over, tap Mulek on the shoulder. Hey, I found a good history book here that we might need to just heed warning and hopefully do the right thing.
Okay, as you approach Mulek, you can tell that he's in the midst of doing a ritual. And Mulek, after Thaldor has leafed through this a little bit, he's just about to come over and say something to you when your ritual finishes, and Mulek, make me a Constitution save, please.
Oh no!
Oh jeez. Is this so is never mind. Straight up Constitution. All right.
15. Okay. It's that 15 is good enough to keep you from passing out, but it's not good enough to keep you from going blind. As you finish the last words of the ritual, the magical emanations from this place are so bright that it just kind of blinds you. It's like looking into the sun, basically.
Oh, goodness. My eyes.
I see him wince over. I go to grab him. Are you okay? What happened?
Are you going to try to maintain concentration on your spell?
Yes, because I'm going to snap Casper into the room and attempt to look through Casper's eyes to see if I can see anything of interest.
Okay.
But
okay.
I don't know if with my eyes closed I can remember any specific light coming, or if it was just like the sun just kind of lit up and
it's just like all around you. It's kind of like you imagine that Mulek suddenly got teleported from the top of a hill on a sunny day into the atmosphere of the actual sun itself.
So do I get the feeling that because I'm in this magical mansion that could be what's causing it?
Yeah, you probably, it's the fact that you're both, yeah, the fact that you're inside this place and the fact that the magic around you is so overpowering, that's probably what it is. Yeah, as soon as you drop concentration on that, like you blink your eyes a couple of times and you sort of have that after image of this everything being aglow and spots. But eventually it resolves, and you realize that you're kind of leaned up against the bookshelf on one side, and Thaldor is there grabbing your elbow on the other side, and you're kind of a little disoriented, and then you stand up and shake your head a bit, but you're fine.
All right.
You have no lingering effects.
That was interesting. Oh, should not have done that. I should have known better.
Would I have known better? Can I roll Arcana? Would I have known better?
Well, I don't know if you know what. I don't know if you know what he was doing, as he hasn't. I don't think he told you he was going to do. He was going to do detect magic.
Good point.
Unless did you mention that out loud that you were going to cast detect magic?
I didn't. I didn't while we were playing. But if I noticed Thaldor kind of followed me in the library, and I would have told Thaldor.
Okay.
I was going to do it.
Okay. So yeah, then you realize what he did, and Thaldor might put two and two together. You can do a 15 Arcana. Yeah. You probably would be like, yeah, that's not going to end well.
Yeah, my interest in these books got ahead of me. I wasn't thinking straight.
Yeah,
I missed that one.
Yeah, you missed that one by a mile, buddy, or a fathom. You missed that one. I bet that was intense. I can't do magic, but I bet that was really intense because this whole place is magic.
Yes. Yeah. And for a moment I had forgotten that, and I'm just rubbing my eyes and like trying to like keep the headache from coming, and I'm just like, oh
yeah.
I back. I'm like, yeah, it's okay. I guess we learned our lesson on that one, didn't we?
Yeah. A lot of interesting books in here, huh?
Yeah, so I handed him the book that I've been reading real quick. I said, this, as I skimmed through it, I was like, yeah, this is pretty interesting. I think that we need to be careful what we do. If not, we're going to end up in a bad shape. And I'm just glancing through the book as I'm talking, and then I let him look at it.
As I kind of glance through the books, does anything stick out other than books saying Zenith and Labyrinth? Would I have any interest in Zenith or Labyrinth? Does that mean anything to me? I mean, I don't know, honestly. I don't want to screw anything up, but I'm just wondering if there's any books or any titles that kind of stand out. based on what Mulek would know, the limited knowledge he has of the arcane, and because I'm just kind of interested in stuff related to arcane.
Okay, so if you look at Labyrinth, you'll see one book called Labyrinth and Serpents, and then you'll see another one called On Construction of Labyrinths. And so you look on that side, then would you go around to the other side and look at the ones on Zenith?
Yeah, there's nothing. I haven't heard of anything. Thaldor, we have no reason to believe we may be coming up or be facing any labyrinths in this place. Do you?
Not to mine. The whole place is a labyrinth to me, but to my knowledge, I wouldn't think so. But I would say this: it would come in handy in a labyrinth because I can remember every path we took.
You might want to take a look at this construction of labyrinths. You might be able to find, if we find ourselves in a labyrinth, maybe there's some kind of tricks of the trade with labyrinths that might come in handy.
Sure, I'll take a look at that and skim through these books while I guess you check the other side.
So
okay.
I'll point him out to that book, The Construction of Labyrinths, and then I'll take a look on the other side.
Okay. Yes, you, Thaldor, you see the book on the shelf that Mulek pointed to. You pull it out of the shelf and you start to try to open the cover of it, and you realize that the book resists being opened. The cover snaps shut and it darts out of your hand and it reshelves itself.
Ooh.
You're growing teeth and like.
I hope not.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't attack. It just
That would make it
just
so much
snaps
more
shut
fun.
and reshelves itself.
So I go. I'm going to play this as cool as I can. Check this out. So I'm going to go to the book. I'm going to stroke the spine of the book and ask it nicely. May I please look inside your covers? May I please read you, please? I'm very intrigued by knowledge. I would like to read you if you'd let me.
Okay. It's just a book on a shelf at this point.
As I do that, I try to take it back off the shelf as I'm talking to the book.
You take it off the shelf. You can hold it in your hands.
Okay, so I'm talking to the book. May I please look at you? And I go to open the cover.
As soon as you try to open the cover, it resists opening the cover, snaps shut, and it reshelves itself.
Oh, wait a minute. Do I see that piece that Mulek was looking at on the shelf? The thing that says Zeniths and Labyrinths?
That's at the end of the bookshelf. The wheel is at the end of the bookshelf.
Okay. So...
But yeah, you can go and you see the same thing.
Okay, I turn the wheel to Labyrinth.
It's already on Labyrinth.
It's on Labyrinth.
Yeah.
Okay, then I turn it opposite to Zenith.
Okay. Okay. Imagine this, if you will. You're looking at the end of the bookshelf, and in the sort of middle of the end plate of the bookshelf, there's a large wheel. And you're looking at the edge of that wheel as it sticks out from the bookshelf. And to the left side, I guess if you were at the same end that he was before, to the left side it says Labyrinth, to the right side it says Zenith. And you notice that wheel is split. So if you you're on the one side with Labyrinth. If you move that wheel, you're going to notice that the word Labyrinth disappears and other words begin to fall in place, while on the other side it still says Zenith.
Oh, okay. So I can turn just the labyrinth wheel.
Yes, you can turn just the Labyrinth wheel.
I want to turn that wheel.
Okay, so you turn that Labyrinth wheel, and you are going to get...
This library is a big puzzle.
I like it. Shador is really intrigued. He's like, this is cool.
You're going to see the several words scroll by as you roll it a little bit. There's the word phantom, the word horses, the word wings, the word defenders, the word family, the word serpent, the word destiny.
I don't know if I can figure this out. Hold on.
Okay, so are you gonna stop scrolling at some point?
Yeah, is it alphabetical? Do I notice if the words are
Doesn't seem to be alphabetical, no.
Okay.
It's just kind of and you realize you are just very slowly moving this wheel, and it's just like word after word after word after word after word after word is scrolling by. You're just seeing kind of the edge of this wheel, and I don't know how much geometry Thaldor would know, but seeing only a small fraction of this wheel, you would think it would take a long time to scroll the wheel all the way around a full revolution.
Right. Then I carefully scroll it back till I see the word labyrinth appear again.
Okay. All right.
And then I calmly look over.
So I'm looking at the Zenith side while you're doing all this because I'm oblivious to what you have been doing.
Okay. And when you get back to Labyrinth and you go back and you look at the same spot on the shelf, you see the construction of Labyrinth is right where you remember seeing it before.
Huh.
Okay. So you're looking at Zenith. Okay. So let's see. You see one of the books you see, Mulek, is something called Zenith of Fortune. And another one that you see is the Demise Zenith. And there's books in all kinds of different languages here, some of which you recognize, some of which you don't recognize, but they all seem to have Zenith in the title.
So I'll try to grab the Demise Zenith.
Demise Zenith.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just to see if I can browse through it.
Okay, you pull that off the shelf. Mm-hmm. And you open the book, and this is a book that looks to be a single long, like saga length poem, and the meter and the rhyme scheme are strange to you. But it's kind of like it's kind of a long poem on the order of like a Homeric epic, like the Iliad or the Odyssey.
So my eyes start going cross-eyed. Yeah.
Yeah, and it starts by introducing this character that doesn't seem to have anything to do with a zenith, and but kind of the way this character is presented, you can like almost tell this is going to be a tragic hero.
Yeah.
And sort of what things that are starting to happen to him.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll just browse a little bit and and then I'll just put it back on the shelf, and I'll just look a little bit longer, and then I'll walk over to Thaldor and say, "Hey, would you learn anything?"
Make me an intelligence check as you reshelve the book.
Okay. Just a straight up intelligence.
Yeah. 16.
Oh wait,
okay.
that was a save. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Wrong. I clicked the wrong thing. No, same thing.
Okay, same thing. All right. Yeah, it's a you wind up putting it, you think, right back where it was before, and it just goes right back on the shelf where you got it from. So then you walk around and you see Thaldor over there, and he seems to be studying this one book, and he's like very curiously sort of stroking the spine of this book with a finger.
Did you fall in love with the book, Thaldor? How was it?
Well, I couldn't read it.
What do you mean?
Well, okay, let me explain. Unlike the other shelf where I could just take the book off the shelf, I went and fiddled with the dial a little bit and realized it's full of words. Maybe has something to do with categories, maybe, or a system of marking books, I guess.
Yeah, like a fancy card catalog, but it's like all the books are right here, maybe. Yeah,
something like that. And so I put it carefully back on Labyrinth, and I go to try to grab the book, and as soon as I go to open the book, it yanks out of my hand and goes right back on the shelf. So I thought I'd be nice to the book.
And Thaldor will demonstrate, and sure enough, Mulek, he pulls the book out, and he can take it out, and he can look at the cover, and as soon as he tries to open the cover, the book slams, and then it just reshelves itself right where it was.
See what I mean?
And this is the one that's on the construction of labyrinths.
See if you can grab it and open the book.
Does it seem to me like a creature, or just the arcane nature of the book?
Make a what would I want to say? Yeah, make an Arcana check as you look at this book.
Nice.
23. Oh, yes. You can see faint words on this book, and furthermore, you can kind of divine the nature of these words, and you realize that this book is worded against any non-spellcasters being able to read it.
Oh, Thaldor, you're just not picking up the book right. And I reach out and I pick up the book and I try to open it.
And it flips open, and you flip a couple of pages, and the preface starts talking about how this book contains a mystical formula for how you can create magical traps to populate your labyrinth or your dungeon that where you would want to protect either protect items of great value, or protect a secret laboratory, or protect things from people that might try to come and steal it or plunder, or if you want to protect a person, people that might want to come and try to do harm to that person. And so it's basically this is sort of a arcane recipe book that's all about the creation of magical traps, and it's written in common. But as you start to flip through, you get to chapter 1, and you can understand about the first 2 or 3 sentences of the summary. But then after that, it starts going into, it's written in characters, but these characters are like these arcane equation type things where it's a mystical type of writing that is beyond anything you have ever encountered before. And so it'll let you look at it, but you really can't get much of anything out of it.
Is it something, would I know that if I were to cast Comprehend Languages on myself, if I would be able to then read it?
Well, that's just the thing. It's written in common. And
but like in code?
Yes, it's encoded. Or actually, it's not so much in code, but it's more like it's written in formula. So it would be like walking into like a
advanced chemistry class, and
or a differential equations class when you've not taken anything more than basic mathematics.
Gotcha.
And just looking at all of those things, like, well, those symbols should make sense, but I have no freaking idea what the hell that means.
Gotcha. Hey, Thaldor, this book is amazing. Unfortunately, my intelligence only gets through like the very first couple pages, but I think there's still some stuff here we might be able to gather. And I walk over to a desk and I lay the book down, open to where I see or it shows some of these traps, and I motion for Thaldor to come over, and since it's in common, he would be able to understand as well. Okay, take a look at this and see what you can learn that might help you disarm any kind of traps we might face in the future.
Yeah, Thaldor, you have that mastermind thing, so
I do.
He does open it to where there are some diagrams, and you can see diagrams of like how there are traps with sliding blocks. And there's like little key lines that come out from specific places on the diagram. But as you look at what apparently are characters that try to explain what those different things are, it's like you can almost see that there are characters there, but then all of those characters just go blurry. And
Gotcha.
The only thing that you can see that is clear are the actual line drawings.
Gotcha.
And the key lines that come out of it.
Right.
So
if I were to see something of that nature, I would recognize it. Like if we were in somewhere like that and I could like notice like certain signs and stuff, like, well, it'd be like I can sniff it out in a way. It's like I can see that, whoa, hold up, and then have Mulek really go in depth with it, but I can notice something's not right. Type of thing,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. Like the primary diagram that he's showing that is being shown. It's a line drawing of a stone corridor, and there is a there are a series of flagstones that have key lines coming off of them. And the way it's drawn, it looks like those flagstones are acting as pressure plates. And then there are other key lines that are pointing to other parts of the drawing. And there's clearly one part of the drawing that looks like a place where a ceiling collapses. Another part of a drawing that looks like where a pit will open up. But instead of there being like a drop onto spikes or a drop to a bottom, it's just like that pit opens up to an endless void. And then there's another place where it looks like another pressure plate will cause a barrier to spring up, and it almost looks like the way that barrier is drawn, it looks like that barrier comes into existence out of an alternate dimension.
This is deep, literally, Mulek.
Yeah, we could spend weeks and months in this place.
I think we have that much time, my friend.
No, unfortunately not.
But I think we'll try to learn as much as we can, as quick as we can, while we're here. Just as if there's anything you want to show me. I won't forget it. Just let me know.
Yeah, I just show him kind of what I was able to see, and then once we're done there, Mulek's gonna be kind of his curiosity will be satisfied, and yeah, I don't know. I mean, like I said, we could spend forever in this library, but I need to get some rest.
Okay.
So let's go listen to Faerun play his tune and just have a relax and sit back and then go to bed, I guess.
Yeah, let's go find the others.
Yeah, so now as you leave, do you guys try to take any of the books with you?
No.
Okay.
If it flies out of my hand, I don't want to know what would happen if I try to take a book out of the library.
Yeah, I'll take the book and carefully put it back where we got it.
Okay. Make me another straight intelligence check.
Oh, dang it. I should have marked it or something. Straight up intelligence check?
Yeah. 22. Yeah. You find the place and you put it back on the shelf. And then you guys walk out of the library and you eventually go up and work your way upstairs and find the others in the room up there. And I guess during this time, would Esmeralda have joined the others listening to the music?
You do know you're still controlling her, right?
I don't know. Can you control her or not?
Oh yeah, I can.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah. So after a while, Faerun, everybody's there, and when you guys walk in, there's kind of a pleasant haze of tobacco smoke in the room, and it's got it's nice aromatic smoke. There's like you smell a bit of like apple and a bit of like lilac and some other sort of herbal aromas along with the tobacco smoke. And Mordenkainen and Van Richten are having what appears to be a competition of some sort. You see hanging in the air, there is kind of a circle of smoke that appears to stretch and then shrink and it's a circle, and then it stretches to an elongated oval, and it collapses down almost to a to a completely closed little point, and then it opens back up again, and it changes its shape, and as it changes like that, each one of them will take turns blowing smoke rings, and they try to blow smoke rings through that oval as it's changing shape. And every time one of them blows a smoke ring that either collides with it or fails to go through it, the other one sort of laughs and says, "Ha ha! Got you that time." And so they appear to be sort of playing some sort of a game, a smoke ring game, with that over there. And Falliger is playing. Well, by this time, what would Falliger be playing? Is he playing some sort of ballad? Is he playing a kind of a jaunty tune? Is he playing something dark and moody? Upbeat.
Just playing. At that moment, he probably would have just playing some music from his mother's heritage, his elven heritage.
Okay. All right. So that goes on for a while. And is there? Well, we're getting a little bit past halfway, so I want to go ahead and take our break now. What I would like to do when we come back is find out if anybody wants to say anything in particular to these folks, or if we just want to advance to the next day.
I've got one thing to do in my room before I go to bed, but otherwise I don't have anything else really to say.
Okay. All right. Well, viewers, thank you guys for hanging out with us. We're going to go ahead and take our break. I'm going to put us back on the slate. I'm going to bring the music back up, and then I will mute myself, and we'll be back in.
Surprised we ain't heard nothing from Paul.
I know, it's kind of weird.
Ken, did you get your internet paid?
Yeah, I did. Thanks for asking. I'm gonna run to Sonic real quick, I think. So.
All right. Give me
cover for me.
Can you give me a
How
Butterfinger
close is
block?
Sonic?
Damn it! I'm trying to get out the door. What?
Then go.
Go. Grab me a peanut butter blast. Sonic's not far from him. Like a couple blocks away or something.
That would be like so dangerous where I live. I mean, if there was one close to where I live.
The closest one to me is... God, how close is the closest Sonic? I think it's... Because that's my wife's name too. But I think it's probably about...
Your wife's name is Sonic?
My wife's name is Heather.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The closest Sonic, I think, is probably about 4 miles down the road, maybe something like that. It's not crazy far.
Closest one to me is just shy of 10 miles in another city.
I was going to say, I drive 15 miles to work every day, and that's still in the same city.
You know how close it is to me? It's non-existent.
You're in the Great White North. Canada.
But see, that's the thing with Omaha, though, is I'm 3 miles away from work. Okay? The closest Sonic, though, to me, where I live in my neighborhood, is down in another city, in another county, just south of Omaha, which you can't tell one from the other half the time, but it's down there, and so it's about 10 miles, maybe less. I'm not a great judge of distance, but it's down there.
I usually do it in how fast you can get there. So, like, if I know, like, from my...
It would take me a good 10 to 12 minutes to get there.
That sounds about right. So it's probably like 10 to 12 miles. I usually estimate about a mile a minute. So,
yeah.
So, because for me to go from my house to work, I'm exactly 15 miles from work. It takes me anywhere between 15 and 18 minutes to get to work.
See, I'm 3.5 miles, and it takes me a good 12 minutes to get to work because I have to take back roads. Like back streets and stuff. Because there is no direct route from my house to work.
So you're 3 miles as the crow flies.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Well, no, I mean literally, if I map it out and use the speedometer or use the odometer, it's like 3.7 miles.
Wow.
Yeah, but I have to go
a left here, there, go.
No, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stoplights, several stop signs, and I've got 2 busy roads that I have to jump onto, side streets. I can't take an interstate straight there. Granted, we have interstates every fucking where, but up here, but oh well. You know, it just means that I don't have a ton of shit that happens in my neighborhood, which is kind of nice. Even though I'm a really old neighborhood.
That'd do it. But see, you have some cool stuff up there, Ivy, we don't have here. Like Tim Hortons?
Tim Hortons are actually in some U.S. airports.
Yeah.
Airports don't count.
No. Well.
Because not everyone can go into the airport and go to a Tim Hortons. You have to be getting on a flight or coming off a flight.
Very fair. But exactly. I do have some news about that, though.
Oh?
I may not be staying in Canada much longer.
Oh?
Ow. Yeah.
You're a Canadian citizen, right?
Yes. But I'm going to be getting work visa and all that for the U.S.
There you go.
One of my friends worked for Universal Studios in Orlando. And he's been working there for he's been working there for like 10 years. So he wants to get me a job down there and everything. So why not? It'll give me a lot of experience and a good job and things like that. So I don't see really any bad reason not to.
No, so. It'd be a fun gig. Because also one cool thing about Universal is for their employees, they have 100% employee paid healthcare.
Nice, so I'll still be a Canadian citizen with free healthcare.
Well, you'll be working for it, but yeah, it'll be provided to you. I was tempted to do that when I was planning to move to Florida about 6 years ago, something like that. I was thinking about moving to Florida and I was like, oh, I can go work for Universal and have employer paid health care and good benefits, 401k, stuff like that. I was like, goodness.
I'm really looking forward to it. Like, I believe it would be a really good opportunity and everything, so I don't see any cons because I know this is a touchy subject.
You just have to remember. What? Well, you just have to remember, though, that one, you're coming from somewhere very cool, temperature-wise, to somewhere very humid and warm.
Yeah, so basically your guys' base temperature, let's say, is 20. That's my highest.
Okay, so you have to remember, we do things weird here, so we're in Fahrenheit, not Celsius.
I know.
So when you say 20, I'm like, 20 fucking degrees?
That's cold.
Yeah.
How?
So 20 is 0 for you guys, right?
No, 32 is 0.
Oh.
Yeah, 32 degrees Fahrenheit is 0 Celsius.
Okay, well, still.
20 degrees is like 50. I think it's like 50 or 55 degrees Fahrenheit. Hold on, I'll ask Alexa.
But yeah, that's why I'm taking the right precautions, and he said that he's going to allow me to
wait a
visit first.
minute. 68 degrees Fahrenheit? That's like awesome.
That's like perfect.
Right.
But you have a shortened season. Your summer is quote unquote a lot shorter than ours up here, or ours even in the Midwest. So
Yeah, no, like I was saying, I'm gonna take the right precautions, and I'm going to visit first to see if my body can actually change the temperatures or not.
Here's the thing in Florida. Let me explain. So, like right now it's summer, so it's going to be excessively hot. Like they might be in the 80s, 90s right now, and it's very sticky, humid. So you will sweat a lot. But during their winter, you're looking at the 68 degrees that, the 20 degrees Celsius and stuff. It might get down to like 62, 60, the coldest in Florida, unless there's a cold snap.
Okay. So what part of Florida are you thinking of?
Orlando.
Oh, okay. Well, that's right where I am. So, the coldest daytime lows in the dead of winter here, you'll get once in a blue moon, you'll get a night that gets down into the 30s Fahrenheit.
And your orange growers are all like, ah!
Yeah. And but usually it's more like 40s for overnight lows. And then, yes, the daytime highs, you will usually get into the coldest days of the year. Daytime highs will usually peak into the 50s. It's rare that the daytime highs stay below 60 for long. It's usually in the 60s. But today, in June 3rd, no, you can do the conversion here, and the conversion is Celsius to Fahrenheit is the Celsius times 1.8 plus 32. So going back the other way, the Fahrenheit to Celsius would be the Fahrenheit minus 32 and then divide whatever's left by 1.8. So today's high was 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And right now at almost 10 o'clock in the evening, it's 79 degrees Fahrenheit. So 79 minus 32 is 40, 47. And then so take 47, divide that by 1.8.
But Gally, she's probably going to go down there and go, "Oh my God, this is so freaking wonderful."
I don't know. She
coming from the cold north, so to speak.
they may open the door at the jetway to get off the plane. She might be, nope, I'm not getting out of my seat. Just take me right back to Nova Scotia.
Right back to Canada.
I was going to say the crazy part is when I went to Florida one time during the winter and it was like 60 something degrees, or maybe the coldest it was like 50.
People walking around in coats and you're like, damn, this is great.
They're walking around in parkas and I'm walking around with maybe a light jacket or a hoodie going, this is wonderful. And people look at me like I'm crazy. Where are you from? Tennessee. Oh, I'm like, no, this is wonderful weather.
We've had people do that. They go to visit California and it's, it's like 55, 60 degrees, and they're walking around practically in shorts like, this is fucking awesome. And then people are like, where the hell are you from? Nebraska.
Nebraska, yes.
And they're like, what? So,
yeah. Well,
Culture shock.
Yeah, I've lived in the extremes in this country. I mean, I'm not going to pretend that I've never lived in Canada, so I'm not going to pretend I have any knowledge of what Canadian winters are like. But I've lived in Orlando, and I've also lived right outside of Minneapolis, up in Minnesota. So, I mean, those are about the two extremes that you get from, cold all year round to warm all year round in this country. Certainly nothing like what you would get in the Northern Territories up in Canada. All right. Let us go ahead and get back to our game. Okay. Hey, thanks, chat, for hanging out. Hey, Packin' Peanuts. Good to see you, Drats. Good to see you. Hope everybody is doing well this evening. All right. So, Falliger has been playing some nice melodies, and I guess at some point people will start to. Oh, go ahead.
No, it was gonna. While these other guys are playing their smoke ring thing, I want to see if that I can sneak in a smoke ring here or there. See if mine work. What do you want me to roll?
Oh, make a dexterity check.
All right, let me see here.
As you're trying to time, your.
I forgot to open my character sheet. Hang on. Maybe it won't take so long tonight. No, of course it's gonna spin. Da, 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 da. Oh, fuzz budget. Come on, you can do it. You can do it. Come on. There we go. Okay. And you said a dexterity check or save?
I went back on mute for something. Dexterity check.
Okay. I'm like, did I lose somebody?
Nope, we're mad now.
Oh, yes. You.
At 20.
You are, the two of them.
Style.
Yeah, the two of them are. I guess actually, Mordenkainen is sort of having a chuckle at Van Richten because his smoke ring collided with the outside of this form that keeps expanding and contracting, and when it collides it just sort of dissipates. Well, while he's doing that, Dez blows a smoke ring, and Dez's smoke ring just goes right through Mordenkainen's smoke ring, and
he's sitting there just kind of long ass legs kicked forward, and he hadn't even touched his pipe. His hands were kind of like crossed over the top of his head. He's leaning back and sitting there, and he just kind of blew it out one side of his mouth and then just grins.
And then as soon as that happens, Van Richten cracks a smile and says, the Furbolg has you there, Mordenkainen. And Mordenkainen says, well, ungrateful house guests.
That's the only smoke ring he blows. He nailed it in one and was just kind of like I don't have to show anything else. I'm good.
Okay. All right. Well, you guys, I guess, does anybody else want to do anything before people retire to their rooms?
Thaldor's just gonna go to his room and, lay down and contemplate everything that's happened this whole trip and go to sleep. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. And Mulek, I know you said there was something you wanted to do when you got to your room.
Yeah, I find a room for myself, and I lay my stuff down, and I grab my spectacles out of a pocket, and I place a pearl in the little spot that I've got crafted for it, and put the spectacles on, and they had been activated from previous to allow me to identify magical items, and I pull out from another pocket the ring that Krenraid had handed to me that he was curious about and had asked me to take a look at to see if I could figure out what, if anything, was special about this ring. And I'm going to spend some time, since the goggles are activated, it's immediate with identify, and I'm going to look at this ring and see if I can figure out what kind of ring it is.
Okay. I've got to look at his character sheet and see what he has. Oh, yes. Okay. I will put that in a PM to you, James. Okay.
And I'll just have, you can do that whenever, and I'll just have that to be able to share with Krenraid at a later time when he's back with us.
All right, so that's what you determine.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Wow. All right. Awesome.
Yeah. As I recall, there's a range on those. I may have to look that up, or you can look it up, and I may be wrong. But I think there's a range for those.
Okay.
But I could be misremembering that.
Okay.
All right. So, yeah. So you do that, and then anybody else want to do anything before turning in for the night?
Nope.
Okay. Well, you all get a wonderful, uninterrupted long sleep, long rest. Whether you choose to set any guards or not, your sleep is undisturbed. And when you get back up in the morning, you will find that Rictavio and Krenraid are both already down in the kitchen. Krenraid seems to be having some fun trying to see what he can make the unseen servants do. Nothing malicious, but just sort of kind of in that mischievous thing, like of a kid who's discovered that there's a voice activated robot and you can tell it to do things, and trying to figure out what you can make it do. That seems to be what he's doing. Largely, he'll have it be like, set the table, clear the table, set the table, clear the table, bring an empty glass. Okay, put the cup inside the glass. Do things like that. Yeah. So
Who
he
is
seems
this?
to be Krenraid.
As I get up and walk past, I thunk him on the back of the head. Knock it off.
And he's like,
Don't abuse
have
it.
you ever seen anything like this?
No, but do you truly want to anger these things? I realize it's magic, but you know what? You never know truly deep down what these things are. Someday they're going to take their revenge. And then he goes and sits down.
Then Mordenkainen will eventually come down, and he will say, well, good morning, everybody. Hope you had a nice rest.
Mm.
Yeah, it was nice. Thank you. The piece was most longed for, so that was great.
And he looks at Mulek and he says, I trust you found the library satisfactory.
Oh, yes. I could spend months in that library. Years. In fact.
Well, if you make a name for yourself, I just might have you spend some time as a visiting scholar here at some point.
That would be great.
Lots of very famous wizards have studied in that library. I'll have you know. And if you really make a name for yourself, I might even give you a table in one of my laboratories.
Oh, you know what might help me make a name for myself is if you've got any scrolls or anything I can start learning new, something not too fancy. And then when I become that great wizard, I could tell everyone it was thanks to the help that you provided.
Oh, so you think that by flattering me, you are going to get perhaps some special treatment?
No, not at all. It just, we've agreed to go help find, these wizard friends of yours, which seem like a noble cause. And I'm sure that you want to succeed in this task. And I think all of us would like to succeed in this task. We all have desires to return back to our homelands, and any way that I can help, I will do it. And with the power and knowledge that you have, I don't doubt that you might be able to help us be more successful. That is all I am asking.
And he looks at Mordenkainen, looks over at Dez and says, have you ever heard such a suck up? God.
Yes. You.
Son, when I ask you if you intend to flatter me and think you're going to get something out of it, you're supposed to say, of course, because that's exactly what's going to happen. You flatter me, good things happen. This is the way it works here.
Somebody's heavy breathing.
Okay, yes, I'm flattering you, Mordenkainen. You are definitely on to me.
That's good. That's good. Okay, good to hear. All right, yes, we can go look through some of them. I'm sure that I have something useful there that would be good for an apprentice of your mere capabilities. And then he says, but Van Richten and I hatched a little bit of a plan last night. And he would like you all to be brought up to speed. So we know from Desarius that there is this Baba Yaga who might be who might want to hinder us if we go and try to bring harm to Strahd. At the same time, we know that defeating her could possibly help us make allies of the Were-Ravens. So, my thought was we go to the Ember Temple, we rescue my friends, Tenster and Odaluk, and then we go deal with this Baba Lysaga, and we get the Were-Ravens on our side, and they can help to run interference with the Vistani, and then we go deal with Strahd. We will have Tenser and Odaluk along to help us, and we can figure out what needs to happen. So, how does that sound to everybody? Does anybody object to this course of action? Does anyone think they have a better idea?
Can use all the help we can get.
Quite.
Oh, but besides, we get them in our favor. They have a winery.
Ooh, a winery.
Even more incentive.
Yes. And I hear tell that before Strahd dragged this place into a demi-plane, the soil around here was quite fertile. So maybe if we get those vines some actual sun, along with whatever other goodness they have, we might actually accomplish something and see them produce some first-class wines. I'm sure that would make your bard happy.
Speaking of the bar, did he come down to breakfast?
About then, Bowser just kind of stumbled down the stairs. Morning.
Good morning, Master Bard. I don't know if I told you or not last night, but you play wonderfully.
Thank you. You're very kind. Appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Sorry.
You play your cards right, and make a name for yourself, and I just might know a craftsman who could make an instrument for you at some point. But you'd really have to impress me.
Well, I just kind of do my own thing and let people make their own minds up.
I find that was the easiest way to get myself in history books. Is just do my own thing and let others be the judge. Fortunately, they seem to think that what I did was pretty good.
Although I'd have to say I think I'm pretty popular in the Underdark, if anybody's alive to tell the tale.
Really? In the Underdark? What the devil were you doing in the Underdark?
Well, that's a good story for another time, I do believe.
Well, you don't think it has anything to do with the Dark Powers or Strahd?
I'm not sure. I doubt it.
Well, okay. Maybe when we're raiding Strahd's larder, you can tell us then. All right. Well, if we have no further objections, I think that we'll go ahead and gear up, and we can head for the Amber Temple as early as later this morning. Now, Mulek, you mentioned that you need some incense, and Falasher, you mentioned you need some diamonds. Is that correct? And then Mulek was looking for a few scrolls.
Anything that you think might help us, and then I'm looking to procure about 300 to 500 gold pieces worth of incense that you know, as much as you can spare. Then I will gladly pay for it.
300 to 500 gold pieces worth.
Yeah, fine.
You sure that's going to be enough?
Fine incense for what I use it for. Yes, it sounds like a lot, but it can be the very fine incense, so it doesn't have to be a ton.
Right. Well, I mean, I have it in bundles of 1,000 gold pieces. You're gonna make me break a bundle to give you some.
Oh, don't be such a fuss, budget.
That's all I have. I'm giving you pretty much most of my wealth, unless you want to just.
I mean, do you have a spell book?
I do have a spell book, but I have a device. I have a device also that allows me to store spells, and that's primarily what I'm using.
Well, would you mind if I have a gander at your spell book?
No, not at all. I hold out the spell book, but the spell book only contains some of my earlier spells. Most of my current spells are in this, and I show them my what's it called? Spell shard.
Oh, fancy! You have one of those.
That's what I need the incense for. Is as I come across scrolls, I can take that and store the knowledge of those scrolls in my spell shard, as I'm sure you're well aware of.
Yes. Well, I could tell you a story about Rary. You know, he was the one that figured out how to store spells that way.
Really?
But I don't think we have time for that.
If we don't have time, then when would we?
Well, once again, like I said, while we're plundering Strahd's larder, we'll have time then. Haha. And then he says, all right, well, Falasher and Mulek, if you all will accompany me down to the basement, I think we can go and get some of those components you need.
Okay.
And so he will walk over here, and he goes into this room, and then he goes up to a wall, and he whispers something, and Mulek, he whispers it too quietly for you to hear what he says, and when he does, a panel in the wall just seems to dissolve, and there's a staircase heading down, and he goes down those stairs, and he goes through a door straight ahead and goes into a very cluttered workroom. It's cluttered, but everything is neatly organized. And he goes over to one part of the room, and indeed he has these bundles that look like they are maybe a foot long, and they're tubular, and they're maybe 3 or 4 inches in diameter, and they seem to be wrapped in heavy brown paper. And there is the one end is completely sealed with wax, and the other end has a tightly formed cap that's like a leather cap that is pushed onto the end, and that has some heavy string knotted around it. And so he grabs one of those, and he reaches it over, and he gives it to Mulek, and he says, "All right, well, that's 1,000 gold pieces worth of fine incense. I'll tell you what, I'll just take it out of your share of the treasure. We'll call it even for now, but don't think I don't remember what that is. If you want to pay me something for it now, you can. Otherwise, just take it out of your share of the treasure, when and if we get any."
Oh, here, and I hand him 500 gold pieces. Here,
Okay.
I can afford at least half. Here, take this. Thank you. I will be sure to pay you back.
Oh, wonderful. And then he says, "All right, and you mentioned something about scrolls."
Any spells that you might be able to teach me or provide us, something that I could copy to allow me to, assist us. It will take me some time, obviously, to master it and to get it into my shard. But anything that you might have that could help us on our journeys would be much appreciated.
Well, what circle of magic have you attained? I presume, if you're here, you've accomplished the first circle of spells. Have you? Are you in the second circle or third circle by this point?
I have the power of 4th level, but I only know right now up to 3rd level. But I can cast up to 4th level. I just don't know 4th level spells. I'm only at 3rd level.
Okay, well, let's take a look. And as someone who studies out of a book, you follow the way of a wizard. So let us just see here. Let us see. Okay. That is okay. Oh. I'm going to go here. I'm going to say. Alright.
And you can ask me if I already know some, or if you can see my sheet and see which ones I know.
Oh, well, of course I have to. Of course I have to do this. And he pulls out a couple of scrolls, and he hands them to you. And he says, These are 2 of my own invention. I think you'll find them quite handy. And as you open the scroll enough to look, you'll see that one scroll he has given you is a scroll of Mordenkainen's Faithful Hound. And the other scroll that he has given you is Mordenkainen's Private Sanctum. Those are both 4th level spells.
Thank you very much.
And he says that ought to get you started. And he says, if you think of something else that might be useful by the time we finish with this business, let me know. I may have something else. If you lot impress me, I may have some more that I can part with to help you on your way.
That would be grateful. Yeah. Anything that you can provide.
And then he says, and now that bard of yours, he needed a diamond. So then he comes out of this laboratory, comes over here and goes down, and he goes into this laboratory. And this laboratory again has all kinds of different things. And one wall is a complete wall that has little drawers, tiny little drawers, kind of like if you remember back before. And not everybody may remember this, but back before libraries were all computerized, where you would go in and where you would go and they would have like the big wall of all of the little drawers of the little cards, the card catalog, and those drawers would be just about the right size for. I don't even think they were 3x5. The cards were usually a little bit smaller than that, maybe like 2-inch by 3-inch little cards, almost like the size of a business card. And so all these little drawers, and he goes, and the whole wall from the floor to the ceiling is just filled with all of these little drawers. And there's a rolling ladder, but he doesn't go to the ladder. He just walks towards a place on the wall and he snaps his fingers and the ladder just sort of rolls over towards him and right where he needs it to be. And he climbs up the ladder about halfway and he grabs a little drawer. He pulls it open and then he looks around for Faerun. He says, all right, how much do those diamonds need to be worth? Do you need the 100 gold diamonds? Do you need the 500? What do you need?
Well, I think just 2 diamonds be good enough. Need to be a good enough quality to cast the Revivify spell.
Okay, and then out of character, how much are those? How much do those need to be? 300? Okay, all right. So he will say, Revivify. I like that spell. It's a good one. And he takes out 2 diamonds, and they're pretty good quality. He says, smaller than I remember. And then he reaches in and he takes a 3rd one just for good measure. And he just sort of casually tosses all 3 of them to Faerun. He says, those should do what you need. And then he reaches into another pocket of his cloak and he pulls out a little black velvet pouch. And he opens the pouch and he pours out a few little diamonds into his hand, and he says, yep, I have the ones we need for the resurrections. And he puts those back into the pouch, does the drawstring up, that pouch goes back into the cloak, and then he pushes the drawer closed on the wall, and he climbs down from the ladder, and then he snaps his fingers again, and the ladder just rolls back over to where it was when he walked in. Says, all right, that takes care of that. Now, anything else you gentlemen need before we...
Pretty good on my end, and he kind of just throws you a pouch with some 600 gold coins in it.
Okay. He says, all right. And the rest, we'll take this out of... We'll take the rest out of your share of the treasure. So... because he gave you 3 diamonds instead of 2, so he seems to think that there's going to be a payday at the end of this for everybody. So he I love Bob in the chat room. He's like, "What's a library? Does he mean Google?" You kids these days.
Hello, young whippersnappers.
Back in my day, you had to walk to the library uphill both ways, 5 miles through the snow barefoot.
Pretty much.
All right.
6 miles.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah. Yes, those were the good old days. All right. So, Mordenkainen gathers everybody together and says, "All right, are we ready to go?"
Most likely.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay, now.
Already as I'm ever going to be.
If you all need to stand close, because yes, I am going to put a shielding spell on us that should prevent us from being able to be scryed. And then we're going to take a shortcut to get to the Amber Temple. And actually, I should say, oh, go ahead, Des.
I would like to take the goat. Zangar.
The goat.
You know.
The goat.
Yeah, the 9-foot goat.
Des.
What?
I know you have an unnatural attachment to that ruminant, but I don't think inside this Amber Temple is going to be any place for a goat. It is a place of evil. I think you would be taking it to its death if you brought it in there. If you have some way of having it be a sentry, or it could stay outside, if it has any way of communicating with you from a distance, it might be worthwhile bringing it and having it stay outside the Amber Temple as a sentry.
Kind of planning on keeping it outside. It's used to that type of terrain.
Okay, well...
up to you. You're the one transporting our asses around.
Yes, well... Tell you what. Would you mind if I put it in an extra-dimensional space for a moment?
I don't care.
Okay.
I don't know if you care, but I don't care.
Okay, very well. And he reaches into another pocket of his cloak, and he pulls out a carrot. And then when he sees that everybody is ready, he grabs his walking staff, he puts a cap on, and he casts a little spell in the foyer, and you all feel kind of a mystical something fall over you. You're not quite sure what it is, but anybody who wants to can make an Arcana check to see if they can figure out what he's done.
My Arcana is so bad.
Oh my goodness. Fortunately, you all have a Mulek in your party.
Yep. Good Arcana, horrible Charisma. I'll take it.
Yeah, it's a... Oh, and Esmeralda. She knows it too, as a caster. Mulek and Esmeralda both realize that this is some arcane and extremely powerful version of a non-detection spell. Basically, it's a spell that he is letting settle as a mantle over. It's probably radiating out from him to a certain area, and it's going to go with him. So you guys would want to stay close. And then when he opens the door, he gives a little whistle, and it almost sounds like he's saying, like he's whistling in some sort of a language. And it's just a couple of seconds after that, you see Sangzor come trotting up, and Mordenkainen proffers. Mordenkainen proffers the carrot in one hand, and Sangzor comes up and he starts munching on the carrot, and Mordenkainen reaches with the other hand and he starts petting the goat's neck. I guess probably near. It would actually probably be more like petting his flank, the front of his flank there. And he whispers a couple of words, and as he whispers, Sangzor just begins Mordenkainen moves his hand so that Sangzor is just a little miniature goat sitting in the palm of Mordenkainen's hand. And then Mordenkainen takes one of the pouches off of his belt, and he opens the pouch and he looks into it. Yep, this is the one. And he tosses the goat into there, and he does up the pouch, and he says, "Don't worry about it, Des. There's 10 minutes of air in there. He'll be fine." Mm-hmm. And then he says, "All right, here we go." And he takes his staff and he swirls it around him 3 times, and the landscape around you shimmers, and boom, you find yourselves standing just outside the gates of the Amber Temple. So basically, from a standpoint of what has happened, is you have gone from okay. You have gone from whoops, I'm sorry. You have gone from here on the map, and you have basically gone all the way over here, almost off the map, and wound up in front of the Amber Temple. And when you get there, you see the temple facade. There's a snow-swept gravel road climbs the mountainside as it travels north from the pass towards the temple. The road fades away under a covering of snow, but it takes you far enough to see the facade of some kind of temple carved into the sheer mountainside ahead. The front of the structure is 50 feet high and has 6 alcoves containing 20-foot-tall statues. Each statue is carved from a single block of amber and depicts a faceless hooded figure, its hands pressed together in a gesture of prayer. Between the 2 innermost statues is a 20-foot-tall archway with a staircase leading down. And let me see. I don't know if there's a handout that shows the facade of this. Let's see. I don't think there are. Oh, player handouts. Okay. No. Nope. Okay. There's not a depiction of the front of this in here, unfortunately. Okay. It's a pretty impressive sounding thing, but they don't give us a picture of it.
And just to recall, going back to the Taroka reading, did we determine that the first card talking about the scarecrow, the garden dusted with snow, that was referring to the Abbey, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that was.
Right. I just wanted to make sure because you'd mentioned snow and some statues, so I just wanted to make sure that. Okay.
Yeah, it's not that.
Okay.
Okay, so let's see here. Oh, phooey. All right. I need to. All right, so you guys are standing out in front of the temple. I need to do a little maintenance on this map. So go ahead and decide what it is you'd like to do.
Well, Mulek would take some time to cast Detect Magic as a ritual, unless Mordenkainen already, knows if there's, if he can see if there's any kind of magic wards or anything in front of us. But that's what Mulek would do.
Okay.
Thought I was just going to maintenance his weapons, clean his crossbow, maybe check the string, make sure I have enough bolts, maybe go through my items and make sure I have everything I need.
Okay. All right, so we'll do this. We'll do this. We'll do this. And we'll do this. Yeah, I discovered, quite by happenstance and by a little bit of good luck, I discovered an alternate way of dealing with dynamic lighting, Michael, which is, yes, if you have a graphics program on your computer, doesn't have to be Photoshop, but it can be like there's a free one called GIMP that I use that's almost as good as Photoshop, but not quite Photoshop. And I realized that if you create basic shapes, and I created a circle, a square, and 2 triangles, and you import those as shapes into Roll20, you can then turn those shapes into tokens. And by making them tokens, that means you can determine who has control of those shapes. So you can give yourself as the DM control of those shapes, and the players don't have control of it. Then you can just set them over your map and put them in places over the rooms. And when you're ready to reveal a room, you just click that token and delete it. And it just very quickly, very precisely, without a whole lot of fuss or mess or anything like that, it winds up helping you deal with all of the nonsense without having to deal with all the stupid stuff that Roll20's tokens or Roll20's dynamic lighting tries to do to you. It's just so annoying. So, all right, I am going to. But with all of the stuff going on today, I did not prepare the map like I wanted to. So now I've kind of got to do that.
Well, it is almost 10 o'clock. So, my time, so.
Yeah, okay, so maybe.
We can just call it for the week, and we're at a good stopping point.
Yeah, maybe we are. Okay, maybe we are at a good stopping point, and that would be a nice place to just sort of leave off here. And then we'll start with the exploration of the Amber Temple next session. Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you guys. Thank you, players, for coming out and playing this evening. And viewers, thank you so much for hanging out and enjoying our putting up with our session. If any of you have been or caught the live stream on YouTube and saw us there, I'd be curious to see what the experience was like on YouTube. I noticed that I noticed from Monster Monday, the one difference is that the actual stream recording on YouTube seems like it's a little bit lower resolution than the recording that I get through OBS, because I think it records at the full screen resolution on OBS, but it looks like it does something like a 720p. So it's like when you try to watch the video full screen on YouTube, it's a little fuzzy, where normally it's not fuzzy if I upload the recording. So you guys will have to go check out the archive on YouTube, and I'd love some feedback from the YouTube audience, what you think about the difference and whether you think that's good enough, or whether I should stick with uploading the archives, or maybe I need to go and play around with some YouTube settings and figure out how to get it to record and stream in a higher resolution, because this is kind of an experiment in doing that. So anybody that wants to help us out that way would be much, much, much appreciated. All right, and before we take off, Michael, between now and next Thursday, do you have anything fun that is coming up on the Doors of Fear channel?
Well, we did have. I just made Pirate Legend on Sea of Thieves, and I was streaming with Scary Jerry Gaming this morning. and played Grounded with him. I've been playing a few games on Twitch. Probably might not have a session tomorrow, health reasons, and one of my players is going to be out of town. So we probably won't be playing tomorrow. I've postponed it for 2 weeks in a row. This will be the third week. We are going to get back to playing hopefully by next week. It's been rough on me lately, so I've been really, really trying my best. But we'll get back to it with our Dragon Heist. But yeah, thank you, Gally.
Yeah, okay. All right. So check out twitch.tv/DoorsOfHere. CM doing his variety streams and any sort of games that he is working on. Now, I will tell you that coming up here tomorrow night, tomorrow night is Friday night. Saturday night, we will have our Saturday night Greyhawk game. It will be session 4 of that campaign. We are going through the original Temple of Elemental Evil with AD&D 2.0 rules. So that's quite a bit of fun. That's sort of an evolution of original D&D and AD&D, but it did make a bit of a strange turn in some aspects. Like, they envision combat rounds in second edition as a full minute long instead of just a few seconds. And so that means that movement is kind of meaningless from the standpoint that in a full minute, you can basically move anywhere on the battle map you want to, but you can still just take one action. So it's a bit of a different kind of way they envision combat in that edition of the game. Then on Sunday afternoon, we will be back. No live soccer games to interfere with our Walker of Waterdeep campaign. We are closing in on session 100. I believe this week will be session 98. And there is a session that did happen between a couple of the recent sessions, and it's not up on the timeline in the archive yet, because after I went through and edited it on DaVinci Resolve, when I went to render it into a final thing, it told me that it was going to take 8 hours to render. So I've just been so busy with other stuff, I haven't had time to tell my computer, okay, take 8 hours and render this stupid thing. So I will do that at some point before long. It may be up by this weekend. It may not be up by this weekend. It all depends on whether I can let my computer be idle for 8 hours while it renders that stupid thing. Then Monday night, we will be back for another Monster Monday. Last week, we deviated from our alphabetical tour of monsters, and we went to the Oni because the Oni was suggested by a viewer over on YouTube. So if you have any particular monsters that you're very fond of that you would like me to do, go over to the YouTube channel and leave a comment on one of the Monster Monday videos and say, hey, would you please do a Monster Monday on this particular monster? But I'll probably be looking for one of the monsters beginning with the letter F, because the last one we did in this series was the Ifrit. So after E, we're up to F. So I'll be looking for a popular monster that begins with F.
Halager.
Well, yeah, I mean, something that appears in multiple editions of the game.
What?
Well, he could.
Well, he could, but yeah, that would not be. That would probably not be one that we would. That I would
gotta take off, guys.
Yeah. All right.
What was the joke? Oh, bye, bye, Goonie.
Yeah. Take care, Goonie. All right. Well, now, as we always do at the end of the night, I am going to go and take a look to see if we can find somebody from our team. And I think this month we're back to small streamer community team. And we're looking to see if any of them are playing something that would be fun to watch for a while. Oh, okay. Looks like Phoenix Crash is playing Final Fantasy XIV. So let's go ahead and we will raid. Oh, we will raid Phoenix Crash.
What have you done?
Oops. If I could spell, we will raid.
Yeah.
If you ride, you get it.
Okay, there we go.
Motorcycle. 15 minutes good.
All right, everyone. Take care. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we hope we will see you back next time for Sword Coast Chronicles. Good night, everybody.
Wahaha.
Oh.